Marty and others got involved in the staff discussions. And what we heard from their executive director, John Skinner, is they have members that support zero waste according to the ZWIA definition, and they have members that support waste to energy, what we call incineration or incineration in disguise. They want to support all their members. So the compromise they came up with is they won't call incineration or waste to energy zero waste. And that at least is a starting point for us to continue to work together with the organizations, that as long as they understand that we're fighting for the brand this year of what zero waste means, and as long as they don't destroy 20 years of effort by calling burning zero waste, we're okay. We'll fight the battles on the burners elsewhere. But if they want to support their members for zero waste, we'll support their initiatives too. And it's an important distinction that Swanee came up with. That's a really great methodology to think about this for people who aren't sure about the whole ZWIA definition. ZWIA, we highlighted the definition. Where's the definition found? ZWIA.org. Okay, I think we're getting it down now. Okay, so ZWIA.org is where you find not only the definition, but under the same section called standards, the zero waste business principles, zero waste community principles, the hierarchy of highest and best use for zero waste. The business principles I just listed here as examples. We use these zero waste business principles in developing the scorecard. So we double check when we're doing the scorecard how we address these business principles. And this is just the titles of each of them. There's more detail on it. If you're interested and are pursuing zero waste, I urge you to take a look at them. They go into more detail on each of them. We'll be looking at these issues in the context of the credits, but I did want to highlight they exist. So ZWIA actually was the first out of the box setting up the zero waste business recognition program. And the difference between recognition and certification that we came to define was, in recognition, it was a desk audit. Paper was exchanged. People who wanted to be recognized submitted information to the validating group, and that group reviewed the paperwork. Once they agreed that they had accomplished what complied with ZWIA definitions, they were able to be recognized. In certification, the first certified facilities under the U.S. Zero Waste Business Council actually used the ZWIA Business Recognition Program definitions, principles approach, but added a on-site field investigation, field audit of the facility as a certification of those efforts. The ZWIA Recognition Program was adopted in January 2012 to recognize these businesses of 90% or more for a facility, a geographic area, or corporate-wide. And it highlighted that what doesn't count is incineration, facilities operating above ambient biological temperatures more than 200 degrees Fahrenheit. One of the more interesting things about this ZWIA recognition program was that they came up with 4 levels. The first starter level was achieving 90% diversion from landfills and incinerators. Second was no burning, and whatever was discarded went to landfills. Third was no burning, and whatever went to landfills complied with the European Union standards, which required pre-processing going into double-lined landfills, with the landfills phasing out organics from the landfills by 2016 by 35%. So the EU standards for landfill, the 1999 landfill directive, if landfills were in compliance with that, they would be at a higher level, which, as far as I know, there's no landfills in America meeting those standards. Our standards are much lower, as part of the subsidy that's going on in the regulatory system. And then the fourth is no burn, no bury, 100% of all discarded materials. This ZWIA program was designed to work through national affiliates in this country. The national affiliate is the Grassroots Recycling Network, and the intent was the recognition programs would sunset once a third-party certification program was established and affiliated with ZWIA. ZWIA has not set up an affiliation for certification yet, so that hasn't happened, but GRM, who is the national affiliate in the US, has helped US Zero Waste Business Council with that first recognition program for Whole Foods markets under this ZWIA system. This US Zero Waste Business Council mission is to educate, inform, and document the performance of businesses using scientific methods to help businesses and communities become more healthy and sustainable. The reference to communities is that businesses that are zero waste businesses will help the communities become more healthy and sustainable. The educate, inform, and document, that's what you're here for, hearing about successes regarding our scorecard examples, learning from each other over time. Again, we're all here to learn about the zero waste economy and help each other figure out how to get to zero waste. We'll be certifying businesses, certifying individuals as zero waste business associates. Have our annual national conference, advocating for a zero waste economy, education resources. In the future, we'll develop specialty levels of certification and hopefully some chapters in the US and internationally. Our goal is to establish best practices and case studies, consistent standards. Our certification program as the benchmark is our goal. Additional education opportunities. We're following the US Green Building Council model. So if it sounds like the LEED program, you're right, it is. Every time we get to a decision point or a juncture where we're not sure how to deal with it, we say, what would US Green Building Council do? And how have they addressed this? And it's been a great model. Sue's a LEED accredited professional, so she's leading the way for us understanding the details of how US GBC handles this. We're working to provide the resources to transform the economy, and we're learning from the best, creating valuable markets and toolkits along the way. Our certification supports the ZWIA definition. That's an underpinning of the scorecard system. Where is that ZWIA definition found? Okay. Drives the development of new markets and new ideas towards the zero waste economy and meets the zero waste business request for a comprehensive third-party certification. Focuses upstream. What's the difference about this ZWIA definition of zero waste? What does it focus on? What does it mean by focusing upstream? Anyone?
Design.
Redesign. Anything else? You're an instructor. Come on. Yes, so he gets a cozy, and who said reduce? And reduce? Okay, so it's focusing upstream. We mean by reduce and reuse, and the difference between up and downstream is the point of consumption. So at a business, once you are consuming resources, from there on it's downstream. Getting the stuff in the door is upstream. So focusing on upstream through reduce and reuse and practices beyond diversion or recycling, we'll be going over in the scorecard system, and it emphasizes the strong total participation, training of all employees, having relationships with vendors and customers that support zero waste. One of the people I talked to as they arrived was saying, are you going to be talking about how to get everyone on board on this? And it's embedded in a lot of our credits. We don't have a section called behavioral change. Kelly Harris, who's a union rep for Miller Coors, is probably one of our best examples of a guy who got the unions to buy in at Miller Coors for them to get to 98% diversion. So he's a great resource to talk to about that. There's many others out there. Stephen Groner on our board teaches class on the culture change of public education and outreach for this using community-based social marketing. You need to do that in the system itself. The scorecard has 80 credits with 4 different levels: bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. There's 15 categories of credits, and we'll be going over that in great detail. The minimum requirements is that there's a zero waste policy in place. 90% you have to in order to get certified. Reuse can count towards the 90%, which some people didn't know how to do that. Data provided is published formally, documents a base year and measurements since, and the base year can be the last reporting year. Committed to submitting 12 months of data annually to maintain the use of certified zero waste business, and data that's submitted will be public and published on the website, and recertification every 3 years. Materials can be processed above ambient biological temperatures to recover energy, but only from the 10% or less of above 90% diversion, and it does not count for the 90% diversion. And businesses will need to meet all federal, state, provincial, and local solid waste and recycling laws and regulations. Examples, the first ones we've done is Whole Foods Market, which in March of 2013 was the first certified by USCWBC under this WIA program. They achieved 93% diversion at 3 stores. Tom Wright, could you stand up? Tom was the one who got them going. Tom's been amazing, working with Whole Foods for many years. Came to us and said, we want the real thing to certify our stores, and worked with us to try and figure out the system that they could use to do that. And in March, we launched that with them. Sierra Nevada Brewing Company is the first certified under our new scorecard system, and they achieved the platinum certification in November last year. Mandy and Cindy, could you stand? Just phenomenal leadership they provided. It was the first done, and 99.8 diversion. The process is relatively simple. Takes some time and effort, but it's a pretty straightforward process. But we're going to go through soup to nuts all day today on how the process works. We encourage you to become a member because you get a 25% discount off the certification fees. You then review the checklist that's on the website, send in an application essentially. When we get that, we set up a site visit and then review the materials on site and afterwards, and figure out where you rank, assuming you're over the 90% in the scales. This just gives a little bit more detail about that process. There'll be some back and forth with staff and you on if additional information is needed, and we'll probably do some type of presentation. That last picture on the screen is at the ceremony we had here at Sierra Nevada Brewing Company, where the leadership of USCWBC came together with the leaders and many of the staff that were involved at Sierra Nevada as part of the receiving of the plaque, and had TV and radio and newspaper here, so they got a really good recognition for their leadership. Our national conference is coming up in Atlanta, May 6th through 9 now. We encourage people to come to that, or encourage your peers to go to that. Our board of directors is indicated. Our founding gold members, we want to give a shout out, particularly to Sierra Nevada again for their tremendous support. And the founding silver members are listed here. And we have someone from Cal Recycle here. Thank you for your participation. And GRN, our other silver members here. Our business advisors, a great list of people that have been involved, making sure that what we were doing made sense from a business perspective. Some of us are not business manufacturers, retailers, whatever. So it was really important to get a strong business advisory board together. There's many collaborating organizations as well, and we ask that you consider investing in the USCWBC and the zero waste economy, and connect with us, and ways to do that. I've got my contact info on this slide, and Sue has hers on hers. I always like to close my presentation, if you're not for zero waste, how much waste are you for? And the corollary to that is asking you, how much waste are you for? Zero! And that was pretty good, but some of you, I didn't think knew what was coming, so why don't we try that one more time? How much waste are you for? Zero! Much much better. But I don't think they heard you down at the receptionist. So, how much waste are you for? You're right. Thank you very much. So we're going to do a couple minutes of Q&A. If anybody has any questions, while Sue is also getting the next slideshow up. If Mandy or Cherie could come with the microphone in the audience, raise your hand if you'd like them to come to you. Keep your hand up after the first questioner speaks so they can go over to you and not lose time going from one to another. So we have one hand over here, and the mic is on its way.
So while you're getting ready for that, the pads are on the tables so that you can either make notes as you go, you can add notes to the different bulletin board topics, or it can just prepare you for when the mic goes around. Okay?
If you can say your name and affiliation and then the question or a comment.
Sure, this is Doug Anthony with Internoc. This goes back to, I think, 2008 when you were at the Wild and Scenic. And I saw a great presentation about what Sierra Nevada was doing, and I believe at the time they were at 95%. So the question is, how do you get from 95 to 99.8, and what are the biggest challenges they face? Because obviously they're pretty leading edge on this. So what are the largest challenges they face going from 95 to 99?
Yeah, that's a great question, and actually we are going to be covering that kind of through the rest of the training, so you're going to get a lot of our lessons learned, which we have lots of them. Great question. Anybody else?
Okay, in this example, who else has questions? So we don't have to waste the time in transit. Anyone else have a question? Okay, so this is the last question.
Okay, Maureen Hart, independent consultant. I come from a very isolated rural area, and many of our manufacturers are small and niche. So I'm just hoping that through the course of today or at some point we focus on smaller businesses and more niche areas.
Definitely. Certainly, Sierra Nevada is smaller than Miller Coors.
Right.
Mad River Brewing Company up in your way, Arcadia was one of the first. Matter of fact, they asked us to certify them back in 2000.
Yeah.
Bob Ornelas from Mad River Brewing Company wanted to be the first to be certified. It took us 12 years to set up a system to respond to his request. In the list of businesses we showed, there were large businesses, small businesses. We've worked in large communities, small communities. Size doesn't matter. You do different things in the rural areas than you do in the urban areas. And the good news is a lot of the stuff that we're talking about for reduce, reuse, and composting is all local economy. Reduce and reuse is all about being more efficient and reinvesting the resources in the local economy. The composting, which is 50% of communities discards, and for many businesses, a large part of their discards, you can do that either on-site like has been done here, with a substantial investment that was done by Sierra Nevada Brewing Company, or working together collaboratively, like the Sacramento Restaurants Association worked together to develop a system with Atlas Disposal to get a system going that could solve the problems where Atlanta's Zero Waste Zone did for the downtown Zero Waste Zone. So there's tools that can be applied to the rural situation. There are great examples in the rural situation, and we'll try and highlight them. If you have some to share, let's get them on the board as cards so we capture that for the future trainings. That was one of our hopes, as Sue mentioned. And during the Q&A periods, if there's a rural example, if we haven't highlighted them, we'd welcome examples to be brought up.
Great answer, but it reminded me of something. This Mad River Brewing Company was a RAP winner years ago, and I bet all those companies that were RAP winners would be great candidates for this.
Exactly. We invited all the RAP award winners, the Waste Reduction Awards Program, formerly of the California Integrated Waste Management Board, which no longer exists as an entity, or the program. But the RAP database is still there. You can search it for RAP award winners in your area if you're a local government or other entity interested in that question. But the RAP award winners are definitely great prospects to go to zero waste and it's all going to be done locally by people you know, and that's what this training is all about, to help you go to